open my eyes to the sound of a bell that won't stop ringing. 1,000 years of stone around me, the greatest city on earth, and the smell of fear, thick as smoke. In 48 hours, the Middle Ages will end, right here, on this spot. These walls have never fallen, not in 1100 years. Empires broke against them like waves. Everyone inside believes God lives here. They're about to learn that this time, He's already left. I know this because I've already lived it. I always have. Yesterday, I watched a mountain bury a city. I think it was yesterday. It's getting harder to be sure. What I'm sure of is the clock. 48 hours. It just started again. Constantinople, the capital of the Roman Empire. What's left of it? Once 500,000 people. Now barely 50,000, rattling around a city built for a giant that died centuries ago. Whole districts gone to farmland and ruin. Outside the walls, the Ottomans, 80,000 of them, maybe more. Inside, 7,000 defenders. Do the math. Everyone here already has. They've held for 50 days. 50 days against the largest army in the world. Because of these. The Theodosian walls. 3 lines of stone, a moat, a killing ground between each. For 1,000 years, unbreakable. I have one rule I've learned the hard way. I cannot save them. I've tried. Every time it ends the same. All I can do is watch and survive. And yet, there's the thought I can never quite kill. Maybe if I save one, just one person, one single time, the clock stops for good. I had a face in my mind a moment ago, someone I was supposed to find. Now there's just the empty shape of it. Every era I cross, a little more of me goes missing. There is no life before here. There's only the waiting. The markets are empty. The granaries are down to crumbs. Men sleep on the walls in their armour because there aren't enough of them to take turns. A Genoese commander named Giustiniani walks the line at night, learning each soldier's name, because he knows it matters at the end. In the great church, the largest building in the world for nearly 1,000 years, they're still holding services. People kneel under a dome so high it looks like the sky was hired to hold it up. There's an old prophecy. The city can never fall while the moon is waxing. They repeat it to each other like medicine. And there's a girl, maybe 7, sitting on the cathedral steps, turning a small white flower over and over in her fingers, talking to it. And for half a second I feel like I've seen her before. Those eyes. Somewhere a long way from here. A long time ago I can't place. The feeling is gone before I can hold it. They always are. I've decided not to look at her again. It doesn't help. It never helps. The Romans still have one wall the Ottomans can't break. The sea. A giant iron chain seals the harbour shut, and their ships ride safe behind it. So the Sultan does the impossible. In one night, he drags 70 warships overland, over the hills, on greased logs, and slides them into the water behind the chain. The Romans wake to a fleet where there was no sea. Now they're surrounded on every side. The walls take damage every day, and every night they patch the holes. Timber, barrels of earth, repairing the impossible with garbage. And somehow, it keeps standing. The first sign isn't an attack. It's the sky going wrong. Days ago there was an eclipse, the moon swallowed red, exactly when the prophecy said it couldn't happen. The waxing moon, gone dark, they felt the floor drop out. And then tonight, the worst of all, A strange, cold light gathers around the dome of the great church, sliding down the curve and going out. The priests say it's the light of God leaving the building. They are, in their way, exactly right. But the real warning is louder than any of that. Beyond the walls, they've built a monster, a cannon, the largest in the world, 27 feet of cast bronze, built by a man named Orban, who offered it to the emperor first. The emperor couldn't pay. The sultan could. It fires a stone the weight of a small house. It takes 60 oxen to drag it and 3 hours to reload. For 50 days, it has been chewing the unbreakable walls into rubble, cracking itself a little more with every shot. And somehow, the walls are still holding. Somehow. Just after midnight, the drums start. All of them. At once. Then Orban's gun speaks one more time, and in the flash of it, for one impossible heartbeat, the light is wrong. Too white, too smooth, a hard, bright stem climbing into the dark, and I taste metal on my tongue. Then it's just fire and smoke again. My hands are shaking for a reason that hasn't happened yet. The Sultan throws his men at the walls in waves on purpose to use them up. First, the irregulars, the men no one will miss. Then, the regulars. And, held back for last, the ones that matter, the Janissaries, the best soldiers alive. And they come forward in silence, which is worse than screaming. Giustiniani is on the wall where the breach is worst, holding the line by will alone. And then a shot tears through his armor. They carry him back through the gate. The soldiers see their commander leaving, and something in them breaks that no cannon could reach. The line begins to come apart. And I break my own rule. I go looking for her, the girl with the flower. I shouldn't, but I do. I see her once, swept along the wall in the torchlight. I get one hand on her arm, and the crowd, the smoke, the surge of men tears her away into the dark. Gone. Like every time. I told myself it wouldn't matter. It always matters. It doesn't end at the great breach. It ends at a small one. A little gate in the wall, the cercoporta, left unlocked, or never closed. A handful of attackers find it, slip through, and climb to raise their banner above the wall. And that's all it takes. A flag in the wrong place. The defenders look up, see the enemy already behind them, and the word goes out. The city is taken. The city is taken. The walls didn't fall. The men did. 1100 years, undone by an open door. The emperor, Constantine, the 11th of his name, the last Roman emperor who will ever live, tears the imperial eagles off his armor, so he'll die as just another man, and charges into the breach. No one ever finds his body. He simply becomes part of the crowd, and the crowd dies. Thousands run to the great church. The old prophecy promised an angel would come down at the last moment and save them inside these walls. They pack it to the doors, and they wait for the angel. The doors hold for a while, then they don't. I make it down to the sea wall, to the water. I always make it. That's the curse. Behind me, 1,000 years of empire goes out like a lamp, and then the noise just stops mattering. I'm still breathing. I'm always still breathing. By dawn, it's over. May the 29th, 1453. Historians will draw a line across time right here and say, this is where the ancient world finally ends, and the modern one begins. The largest church on earth will become a mosque by nightfall. A 21-year-old sultan will ride through the gate and weep at the beauty of what he's just broken. I'm alive. I'm always alive. And for one breath, one single breath, I let myself feel it. I survived. Again. And then, out across the grey water of the harbour, I see it. Where the open sea should be. A city floating on a lake. White towers and temples rising straight out of the water. Long stone roads running across it like threads. A place more beautiful than anything Constantinople ever was. And moving toward it, men. Men in steel that flashes like mirrors, beside men crowned in feathers brighter than fire. And between them, something invisible, riding on their breath, that will kill more people than any cannon ever built. No, not yet. I just got here. No, 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 no. 48 hours. The next city is already waiting. Subscribe, and you'll be standing in it. One thing before you go. Constantinople had a way out, the sea, for a few hours before the chain closed. Would you have run or stayed on the walls?